Why women secretly love these 6 things more than money. Stoicism, modern stoic. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Persis swing. Have you ever wondered why some of the richest men still struggle with rejection, infidelity, or simply fail to capture the hearts of the women they desire? Meanwhile, other men with fewer material possessions seem to effortlessly win the attention of incredible women. It's puzzling, right? We're often told that if you have money, you have it all, including love and respect. But what if I told you that money is just a small part of the equation? There are 6 things women secretly value far more than wealth. In this video, I'm going to uncover those 6 things and explain how you can master them, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers in history. Stick around until the end, because what you'll learn here could transform the way you approach relationships and love. Let's travel back to ancient Greece, around 350 BC. Aristotle, a renowned philosopher and teacher to Alexander the Great, was a man of immense intellect and influence. Despite his fame, wealth, and access to power, Aristotle understood that true success in life wasn't about material possessions or external status. Instead, he focused on cultivating virtues within, qualities that are far more attractive, enduring, and valuable than any wealth. In this video, I'll walk you through the 6 things women secretly appreciate more than money and show you how you can embody them, just as Aristotle taught through his philosophy. By the end, you'll have the tools to create deeper, more meaningful connections that go far beyond surface-level attraction. 1. Emotional control. Do you remember the first time you truly fell for someone? I'm not talking about a passing infatuation, but the kind of love that grabs you at your core, the kind that shakes you. Maybe it was her laugh, so genuine, even when you cracked the lamest joke. Maybe it was the way she looked at you, making you feel like the only man in the world. Perhaps it was a quiet moment, walking together at sunset, or lying next to each other with her head on your chest, where silence spoke louder than words ever could. That's the magic of connection, the purity of emotional intimacy that no amount of money, power, or material success could ever replicate. But then, something changed. The warmth you once felt turned cold. Do you remember where it all went wrong? Was it something you did, or something she said? Maybe it was your reaction when things didn't go your way, when you let your emotions overpower your judgment, pushing her away in the process. Listen closely. Love doesn't vanish because it's no longer there. It fades because emotions hijack the relationship. Anger, jealousy, insecurity, fear, they disrupt everything. Instead of talking to her, you start speaking at her. Your voice gets louder, sharper. You say things that cut deeper than you realize. You raise your voice in frustration, and her eyes, the ones that once shone with admiration for you, begin to lose their spark. She begins to question everything. Is this still the man she fell for, or has he become someone else, someone who can't control his emotions? This is where Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, enters the picture. He wasn't just any philosopher. He was the ruler of an empire, commanding armies, making life or death decisions every day. Yet even in the midst of such immense pressure, he wrote about one undeniable truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. That right there, that simple idea is a game changer. You can't control her thoughts, her actions, her past, or her mood. You certainly can't control if she decides to leave. But you can control one thing: your response. When you master your emotions, when you refuse to let anger dictate your actions, you become the calm in the storm. You stay centered, grounded, and powerful, qualities that women instinctively feel. In a world filled with impulsive, emotional reactions, the man who remains calm, steady, and in control becomes the rock that others trust. This is what women crave. It's what makes them feel safe, secure, and attracted to you. Think back for a moment. Have you ever let your anger push someone away? Have you ever said something that you deeply regret in the heat of the moment? It's okay if you have. We've all been there. But here's the crucial part. Every new day is a chance for you to start fresh. not just with her, but with yourself. Emotional control is not about suppressing your feelings or pretending you don't have them. It's about mastering them. It's about not allowing life's inevitable challenges to shatter your composure. It's about being tested by her and remaining calm, strong, and unshaken. This is the essence of being a Stoic. And when you embody this, women will feel it. They'll feel your strength, the safety in your presence, and they will trust you in ways they never would if you were reactive or emotionally volatile. In a world of emotional chaos, the calm, controlled man is the one who stands out. So, the next time she pulls away, the next time she says something hurtful, or the next time your pride is screaming to explode, ask yourself, will you react or will you respond like a Stoic? Because, in the end, the man who wins her heart is the man who can hold his own, even when emotions are running high. And if you're still with me, it's because you know deep down that this is true. You're here for a reason. Your story is still being written, and trust me, the next chapter begins with mastering your emotional control. The real power lies in how you respond. Embrace it, own it, and watch everything change. Remember, women may secretly love money, power, and status, but what they truly crave, what they can never resist, is the strength of a man who knows how to control his emotions and lead with unwavering calm. So, do yourself a favor. Start practicing now. Your future self will thank you. What's your take on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 2. Purpose. You remember her smile, the way she leaned in when you spoke, the warmth in her voice as she whispered, "I've never felt this way before." It felt like magic, didn't it? You weren't just in love with her, but with the idea of her, with the feeling she stirred within you. But then, something changed. She grew distant. Texts became shorter. Time together became less. You asked her, "What's wrong?" And she responded, "I don't know. It's not you. It's just that I feel like something's missing." And you were confused. You thought you were doing everything right. You gave her your attention, your time, even your money when she needed it. But here's the truth that no one warns you about. Love doesn't thrive in comfort. It thrives in movement, in purpose. And women, they don't fall in love with a man. They fall in love with his mission. So let me ask you this. If someone asked you right now, "What's your purpose?" what would you say? Would you respond with something like, "I want to be rich," or "I want to be successful"? Or would you say, "I'm building something meaningful"? The difference is in the depth of your answer. When a man is on his mission, when he's focused, building, evolving, that's when women feel most drawn to him. Not because he's neglecting her, but because his presence carries direction, conviction, and strength. Look at Marcus Aurelius. Despite being the emperor of Rome, he didn't sit back on his throne drinking wine. He lived with intensity, writing in his journal by candlelight, reminding himself each day, do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. It is not your job to direct the universe, but to direct your own steps. Aurelius was a man with purpose. Purpose isn't about being busy, it's about moving with intent and focus. Now, let me tell you a story. Maybe it's your story, maybe it's every man's story. There was once a guy deeply in love. He made her laugh, he cooked for her, they talked for hours. But over time, she started asking tough questions. What do you want out of life? Where are you going? And he would smile, shrug, and say something like, I'm still figuring it out. She waited. She supported him, but deep inside, her heart started to drift. Not because he was a bad man, but because he had no purpose, no fire to lead him. And one day she said goodbye, not because she didn't love him, but because he didn't love something bigger than her. Women want to feel your purpose. They need to see that you are walking towards something. They want to be beside a man who has direction, even if they don't know exactly where the road will lead. So ask yourself, what are you building? What wakes you up in the morning, even when no one is watching? What would you die for if it came to that? What would you proudly suffer for? Because when you find that, when you stop living only for weekends, pleasure, or approval, and start living for a greater mission, women feel it. They respect it. They see the depth, and they desire it. Don't chase her. Chase your purpose. When you align yourself with your mission, the right woman won't run from you. She'll run toward you. It's your path, your fire, your mission that will attract the right person into your life. Remember, true love is not just about affection, but about shared purpose. So let's hear it from you. What's your purpose? What drives you? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss how we can all begin building lives filled with meaning, not just success. 3. Self-discipline. Ever found yourself staring into the mirror after a breakup, asking, "Was it me?" You replay each conversation, every text you never sent, the silent moments after every argument, wondering if there was something you missed. You loved her, and you would have done anything to make it work. You believed love alone could sustain everything. But here's the harsh truth. Love without discipline is like a car with no gas. It looks great, but it's not going anywhere. Let me tell you a story. Maybe it's your story too. There was a time when you were fired up, motivated, and driven. You worked out, had a plan, and were building a life that aligned with your ambitions. You were the man she first fell for. Then, comfort began to creep in. You stopped waking up early, skipped the gym, and postponed your goals, convincing yourself that love was enough. But something in her eyes began to change. She didn't stop loving you. No, what happened was you stopped loving yourself. You let go of the very thing that made you strong. Women don't just fall in love with who you are, they fall in love with what you stand for. And nothing signals strength more than self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter." He didn't care about accolades or applause. His focus was showing up for himself every day, regardless of the circumstances. Self-discipline isn't about being flawless. It's about being consistent. It's about doing the hard things when no one is watching. It's about waking up at 5 a.m., even when you're exhausted. Turning off Netflix to work on your goals. Saying no to short-term pleasure in order to protect your long-term vision. Picture this. What would happen if she saw you living with that same fire again? If she saw a man who was focused, driven, and refusing to waste his potential, she would feel the difference. She would see you growing into the man you promised you would be. Here's the secret. Self-discipline isn't just attractive, it's magnetic. It signals to a woman that you respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, you automatically command respect from others, including her. It's not just about chasing pleasure or distractions, it's about pursuing excellence. Once you stop chasing instant gratification and start chasing your bigger goals, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your presence deepens, your eyes tell a story of purpose and control, not of desperation or regret. And here's the truth. Whether she notices or not, whether she comes back or not, is irrelevant. What matters is you're doing it for you. You're rebuilding the man who wakes up early, who keeps his word, who makes himself proud even when no one is watching. That's the man she fell for. That's the man you need to be. That's the man the world needs. So ask yourself, not whether she still loves you, but whether you still love the man you've become. When you find that answer, everything else will fall into place. Be the man who lives with purpose, discipline, and integrity. When you become that man, you'll see that everything starts to align. 4. Selflessness. There's an undeniable truth that men, especially those between the ages of 35 and 70, often overlook when it comes to understanding women's desires. They may think that wealth, stoicism, and the appearance of strength are the ultimate tools to win a woman's heart. But what most men fail to realize is that women secretly crave something far deeper, something far more powerful: selflessness. It's a concept that echoes throughout history and is as relevant today as it ever was. The legendary poet Rumi once said, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray." And there's wisdom in that. In a world obsessed with material wealth and emotional detachment, women are drawn to a man who gives of himself, without expectation, without selfishness, and without limits. This doesn't mean you have to be a saint, but it means you need to step outside of your own ego, outside of your own comfort zone, and offer something that transcends your own needs. You have to lead with your heart, not just with your wallet or your facade of emotional control. Consider the modern Stoic, the man who controls his emotions, never showing weakness, never allowing himself to appear vulnerable. While this might earn you some respect, it will never create the deep connection that women long for. Women desire a man who can be both strong and soft, both stoic and selfless. It's the paradox that men must embrace. Strength is not just about holding back emotion, it's about the courage to be emotionally present, the willingness to give without asking for anything in return. When a man demonstrates this level of selflessness, he communicates something far more potent than any material possession ever could. He communicates that he is not just a provider, but a partner, a force of support, a source of love that doesn't require validation. Many men have convinced themselves that their wealth or their ability to keep their emotions in check is what attracts women. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding. Selflessness is the true currency of human connection, and it's what women truly long for. You may have heard that love is unconditional, but it's more than that. It's about being able to give freely, to show up, to listen, and to sacrifice for the people you care about. This is not about losing yourself. It's about making a deliberate choice to prioritize the happiness of others, which, ironically, brings happiness back to you. The famous philosopher Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Yet in today's world, many men lead lives of selfishness, chasing fleeting pleasures and material wealth only to end up empty. To attract the love you seek, you must first give of yourself, without hesitation. Women are drawn to the power of a man who understands this, a man who knows that his true value is not measured by his wealth or his ability to remain emotionally detached. His true value lies in his capacity to be selfless, to invest in the well-being of others, to make the world a better place not just for himself, but for the people around him. This is the man who wins hearts, who commands respect, and who attracts genuine admiration. Don't make the mistake of thinking that showing no vulnerability or flaunting wealth will win her affection. You'll be surprised by how much deeper her attraction will run when you show up not as a facade of strength, but as a real man, capable of love, compassion, and, yes, selflessness. The art of selflessness is the ultimate weapon in modern relationships. It's the ultimate demonstration of your power, your emotional intelligence, and your ability to lead from a place of empathy. It will not just make you more attractive, it will make you more human, more authentic, and more magnetic. And in the end, it's authenticity that women crave most. If you want to truly master your relationships and attract the love you desire, you need to embrace the power of selflessness. No amount of wealth, stoic demeanor, or modern detachment will ever substitute for the strength it takes to give without expecting anything in return. This is the true mark of a man who understands not only the world, but the hearts of those around him. So don't wait. Begin today. Give selflessly, lead with your heart, and watch how the world around you shifts. 5. Integrity. When she left, or when everything began to fall apart, how did you feel when you were alone? I don't mean alone in a room full of people. I mean that profound, raw silence. The silence when the texts stop coming, when her scent fades from your hoodie, and when you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she's already moved on. Did that silence break you, or did it wake you up? Let me tell you, most men fear solitude more than anything. We chase connection, constantly avoiding silence. We beg for attention, not because we're weak, but because we've never learned how to be whole on our own. But think back. Remember when you first met her? You weren't desperate. You weren't chasing. You had your own vibe, your own rhythm. You were a man at peace with himself. And that's exactly what drew her to you. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Your life became about her and less about you. Your identity started to revolve around her affection, and when she pulled away, your sense of self disappeared with her. This is where Marcus Aurelius offers us a powerful lesson. He said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Think about that. He's telling us that solitude is not our enemy, it's our power. When you become comfortable in your own company, everything shifts. You stop needing women, and you start attracting them. Confidence is not loud. It doesn't come from clinging to someone else. True confidence is silent. It's a man who can sit alone, at peace, not because he's lonely, but because he's complete. I want to share a story with you, a story about a man who was shattered by heartbreak. He spiraled, he searched for distractions, he drank, he begged, and he cried, trying to fill the emptiness. But then, one day, he stopped running. He sat alone in the silence, and it hurt. It hurt badly. But he stayed in that pain. Over time, he rediscovered himself. He began to focus on his passions again. He journaled, he hit the gym, he took long walks, just him and his thoughts. Slowly, he began to rebuild. And one day, when he looked in the mirror, he saw a man, a complete man. Not a broken piece, but a grounded, unshakable man. That's what women secretly crave. They crave a man who isn't chasing validation. They crave a man who isn't afraid to be alone because he knows he's enough as he is. So now, let me ask you, can you sit in silence and still feel powerful? Can you spend a Friday night alone and still feel complete? Not because you've shut yourself off from the world, but because you've mastered solitude and found your own sense of worth. If you can learn this, if you can master the art of being whole on your own, you'll never need to beg for love again. Love will come to you naturally because it will be drawn to the man who doesn't need it to feel alive. Remember, solitude is not a prison. It's a temple. It's where your true power is reborn. Once you reclaim this power, once you learn to stand strong and firm in your own self-worth, everything will change. And if you think this is just some theory, think again. Countless successful men, past and present, have understood this profound truth. The silence is where they found their greatest strength. The solitude is where they built their empires, their confidence, and their deepest sense of self. So, I challenge you. Take a moment. Embrace the silence. Rediscover who you are when no one else is around. Be the man who doesn't need validation from others to feel powerful. Become the man who isn't afraid of being alone because he knows in his heart that he is more than enough. The woman who is truly meant for you will find that irresistible. And if this message resonates with you, drop your thoughts in the comments below. How have you learned to embrace solitude in your life? Share your story, and let's inspire each other. 6. Resilience. Resilience is one of the most compelling and deeply admired traits that women secretly love, often more than money, stoicism, or even the idealized modern Stoic philosophies that have become popular in today's world. It's not about having everything perfectly under control, nor is it about an unbreakable, emotionless shell. Instead, resilience is about a person's ability to weather life's storms and rise above them, no matter how many times they fall. In an era where uncertainty is everywhere and life's challenges feel unrelenting, resilience becomes not only a crucial trait, but an essential one. It's something that transcends superficial measures of success. Women often find resilience more captivating than material wealth because it shows a depth of character that can't be bought or fabricated. The man who can face adversity head-on, persist through difficulties, and rise from failure is someone who commands admiration. This is the type of man who demonstrates that no matter what the world throws at him, he can adapt, learn, and keep moving forward. Wealth is fleeting, philosophies often change with the winds, but resilience is a foundation that remains solid in the face of everything. It reveals a person's true nature, not in moments of comfort, but in moments of struggle. Resilience is often perceived as the ability to remain emotionally grounded despite external chaos, to keep pushing forward without losing integrity or compassion. Women crave this emotional depth in a partner, someone who doesn't crumble when things get tough, but rather remains steady, thoughtful, and proactive. It's not about being perfect or showing no vulnerability, but about maintaining the courage to act despite fear, to remain calm amidst the storm, and to stay true to one's values even when things go awry. Life doesn't always unfold according to our plans. There are times when things will fall apart, relationships will be tested, and circumstances will feel out of our control. This is where resilience comes in, being able to not just endure but to learn and grow from the experiences. Women, deep down, recognize this. They see resilience as an invaluable sign of emotional intelligence, an ability to handle life's unpredictable nature with grace and poise. The person who can bounce back from setbacks, who can handle challenges without losing their sense of self, becomes someone they feel they can trust, rely on, and build a future with. The resilience that women love isn't about putting up walls or pretending everything is fine when it's not. Instead, it's about confronting issues head-on, acknowledging difficulties, and finding solutions even when the path is unclear. This is the kind of strength that inspires respect and admiration. It's about having the fortitude to pick yourself up after every failure, to reflect, learn, and evolve. It is this very ability to remain emotionally stable under pressure that is far more attractive than any superficial display of success or philosophy. Modern life is full of distractions, challenges, and unpredictability. It tests our patience, our perseverance, and our emotional resilience in ways that we can't always anticipate. It's easy to get swept up in the idea that financial success, power, or even adhering to a philosophy like Stoicism will earn respect and admiration. However, while these things may be valuable, they don't necessarily provide the emotional connection and reliability that women are truly drawn to. They want a man who doesn't just survive life's trials, but who thrives in spite of them. This thriving, however, isn't about always being happy or victorious, but about continuously getting up no matter how many times you've been knocked down. It's about understanding that setbacks are part of life, and that growth comes from embracing challenges, not avoiding them. The resilience that women secretly admire is not just about toughening up emotionally or keeping a stoic demeanor. It's about being able to bend without breaking, to feel deeply, and yet remain unshaken by the chaos of the world around you. It's about being present, reliable, and steady, no matter the circumstances. You see, women look for a partner who can be their rock, but not in the sense of being a cold, immovable figure. Instead, they want someone who has the emotional depth to understand and share in life's highs and lows, someone who can be strong in adversity without losing their humanity. That is the power of resilience. It isn't just about bouncing back. It's about thriving, growing, and continuing to move forward no matter the challenges in front of you. A resilient man doesn't become bitter when things go wrong or give up when life feels difficult. Instead, he uses every obstacle as a lesson, every failure as an opportunity to come back stronger and more prepared. Women respect this strength not just because it's rare, but because it signifies a deep, emotional intelligence that is not only resilient but adaptable. In modern life, where uncertainty and difficulty seem like constants, being resilient will help you not just survive, but thrive. It will make you a stronger, more reliable partner in all aspects of life, and that, above all else, is what women are ultimately looking for. Resilience is your most powerful tool, more potent than wealth or rigid philosophy. It will serve you well in all areas of life, help you maintain your peace, and make you far more attractive than any external achievement ever could. Don't underestimate the strength of resilience. It's not just about enduring, it's about becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable with every challenge you face. So embrace it, and you will discover that resilience is the key to not just surviving life's struggles, but to conquering them and finding success in ways you never imagined. 7. Final story, The Three Men. Let me share a story with you. Three men walk into a restaurant. The first man is dressed in a sharp, tailored suit, flaunting a $10,000 watch. He places his keys to a Ferrari on the table like they are a symbol of his success. He orders the finest bottle of wine, boasting endlessly about his business, constantly glancing at his phone as though his world revolves around it. The second man is dressed simply. He doesn't speak much, but when he does, people listen. He meets everyone's gaze and carries himself with quiet confidence. He speaks to the waitress, smiling as he uses her name, making her feel seen, valued, and respected. He listens intently, and it feels like the world slows down when he does. The third man stands apart from both. He doesn't boast about his wealth or flaunt his possessions. Instead, he carries himself with unshakable confidence, yet humility. He doesn't speak unless it's meaningful, and when he does, he speaks with clarity and purpose. People are drawn to him because his presence is grounded, steady, and full of integrity. By the end of the evening, which man do you think the woman at the next table is truly drawn to? Here's the truth, my friend. Women don't remember your wallet, your car, or your flashy possessions. What they remember is how you made them feel. Did you make them feel safe? Did you make them feel seen and valued? Did you make them feel grounded in your presence? Money might catch their attention for a brief moment, but what keeps them is the strength you project. Not your bank account, not your status, not even your appearance. It's your mindset, your emotional strength, your presence. Presence is everything. A man who is genuinely present, who embodies emotional stability and strength, leaves a lasting impression. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics to ever live, didn't chase applause or external validation. He focused on virtue, and in doing so, he became unforgettable. When you build yourself from the inside, when you cultivate Stoic strength, integrity, and emotional intelligence, love no longer becomes something you chase. It becomes something you naturally attract. So, ask yourself, what kind of man are you becoming? Are you focused on external appearances, on trying to impress others with your wealth and status? Or are you focused on becoming a man who exudes strength from within, who understands the power of presence and emotional depth? Women aren't drawn to flashy possessions. They are drawn to the man who shows up, grounded and emotionally aware, who listens and makes others feel valued. Don't fool yourself into thinking that money and possessions will win over a woman's heart. Be present, be strong, be stoic. Develop your mind, your character, and your emotional depth. When you do this, you'll find that love is no longer something you have to chase. It becomes something that comes to you naturally because the right woman is drawn to the man who knows who he truly is, who exudes emotional strength and confidence, and who doesn't rely on anything external to define his worth. So take a moment and reflect on this. What kind of man are you becoming today? You have the power to shape your future. Invest in yourself. Build your inner strength. Be present. Make the choice today to become the man that women are truly drawn to, the man who doesn't need to flaunt anything to be unforgettable. What do you think about this perspective? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.